This is Unexplained YouTube.
Hi, Kendall.
Hello.
It's a Bigfoot kind of day. We like our Bigfoot here in the best 5 minutes.
We really do, though. I mean, I think per capita we have the most Bigfoot videos.
Yeah, it's a lot of Bigfoot videos. But you know what? It's all right when they're good Bigfoot videos.
Yeah.
Because tonight, I don't know, it's the middle of the day. What the fuck's wrong with me? Today, there's a few Bigfoot videos that I haven't seen the likes of since, what am I trying to say? For a long time. You know what? Actually, we haven't done a Bigfoot video in a long time.
Yeah.
I don't think we've done one. I'm going through here. We haven't done one. We haven't done one this year, actually. So
Really?
this is 2017's Bigfoot video.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so let's make it good. First, we're going to talk about this video that I found. It's called... Well, I'm looking at this video on a channel called Paranormal Central. And it's 41 seconds long. It's called Bigfoot Caught on Looking Through Window 2015. So, I found this video looking for Bigfoot videos. You know, if that doesn't blow your mind, I don't know what will. And it was on one of those compilations, like the 4 best Bigfoot sightings, whatever. I didn't even make it to the others because I couldn't make it through this part. And it just freaked me out so much. Like, this is basically a how-to on how to scare Max. Like, this is pretty rough for me. This transformed me quickly into a deep white pussy. Like, it sent me there fast. And so there's a bit of a backstory on this. Apparently, in 2015, this was originally uploaded by a channel called Beautiful Planet. And, you know, the story goes that the lady at this channel, I think it was a lady anyway, the video doesn't exist anymore. She was noticing fruits and things and stuff going missing from her back yard. So she puts up the camera and leaves the window open, I guess, because I'm looking at it now, and it's just the screen between me and the Squatch. And that's not how I want to be. And she catches the thing looking in the window, and it's no good. And it's really scary. It's pretty rough. So, all right, before we get into talking about it, you have anything to add in on this, Kendall?
It is all of the classic nope scenarios, man. You got a window that's open, middle of the night.
Yeah.
You know, there's literally just a screen between you and all the terrors of what is outside in the darkness.
That Squatch. Oh my god, it's just so horrible. So, all right, let's get into it a little bit. Let's just go right into debunking before we start fantasizing about it being real.
All right, well, the first thing obvious is why you got a camera pointed at the window, man.
That's always the thing. Like, it's always, oh, isn't it nice you got a camera?
Oh.
Right? And,
on a tripod pointed at the window where the Bigfoot shows up, the specific window where he wants to peer in.
Yes, unless he's just going around to every window.
Right. And you say, well, Kendall, they explained that fruit had gone missing. Like, you're not going to set up a tripod camera like that, you know, to capture somebody picking fruit off a tree. You can't see anything that's outside that window. You can barely make out the silhouette of the Bigfoot in the window, let alone the trees back there. Like, so don't try to fight me on that, all right? This is deliberate to capture something in the window rig.
Yes. Yes.
It's your Stan Romanek.
It is. It's a bit Stan
scenario.
Romanek suspect, and
Yeah.
so that's like one mark against it. On the other hand, at least they bothered to even provide a backstory as to why they set up a camera.
Yeah, most things are just like, shocking footage of Bigfoot in the window!
Yes. I understand it could be a hoax. It probably is a hoax. It's a very well done hoax. Like, you can't see anything. And it's very tastefully done so. Like, you can tell that there's a thing there, and you can tell that that's its head, and you can tell that that's its eyes. But other than that, you can't see anything. But you can. It's like, ooh, it really, they found that balance between, okay, we're going to let your imagination prey on itself, and there's going to be a squatch in the window, you know? Like, whoever made this would be an amazing horror movie director. You know, you might have a following. But you're right. It's too convenient. Why have the lights on in the house if you're going to point a camera outside the window? I don't know, man. I just feel like it is the Stan Romanek thing. You could put a big gorilla mask on, glint the eyes, and do this. And have yourself a very effective Bigfoot video. So yes, I'm leaning towards hoax. But how about we talk about the off chance that this is actually a thing in the window that's scary?
Well, here's the thing about that, though. Like, the movement just doesn't seem very consistent with other Bigfoot encounters. Like,
the movement is kind of surprisingly fluid.
Yeah, but, like, I don't know. If there was a thing in the window, I would just expect it to just kind of walk up to the window, look inside, kind of get bored, scratch its butt, and walk away, you know?
Isn't that what it does?
No, it keeps, like, popping in and out, in and out.
But then it does just walk away.
Yeah, I guess. It just pulls away to the right side of the window, so it's not seen anymore.
Right, right.
I don't know, like, there's nothing actively engaging it to make it think, like, oh, I better duck back down. Now I'm going to look again, I better duck back down, you know?
I mean, I guess. I don't know. Just say, for instance, that this is a real Squatch. Let's put our minds in I don't know. We don't know. I mean, Squatch are elusive, right? Maybe that's just automatically how they move. They're like DSP. They always just sway around.
Oh my gosh.
So, you know, they're always just ducking and jiving.
Ducking and jiving.
I think we're missing the obvious possible identification here, Kendall.
What's the Avi?
The darkness gives it the illusion of fur, and this is actually an alien.
The eyes are too small.
Aliens don't need big eyes.
I mean, if it's a gray.
Yeah, but we're not. This is just. I never said gray. This is just an alien.
Oh, I see. One of them extraterrestrials. So we're taking this from the realm of not possible to let's pretend it's possible to let's just pretend that, you know, we live in a fantasy world.
I don't know. I think Bigfoot's more fantasy than aliens.
You know, yeah, that's another debate for another time.
At least aliens can come from somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, before we recorded the episode, we were, like, arguing about, like, we always say that, oh, it could be an escaped gorilla. But how many gorillas escape in North America, you know? Not to mention, what about the pioneers? Were they seeing escaped circus gorillas from circus trains that hadn't existed yet? Like, what? You know, you can't stretch the explanation so far.
Okay, let's go back to reality.
Yeah.
Bear. Maybe?
No.
No?
No, there's no way.
I mean, bears have this weird curiousness about them.
This is true, but the face is wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
The face is the head rather is shaped in like the traditional Bigfoot cone shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not a bear.
Yeah. Unless it's a new kind of bear.
A new kind of bear. Maybe that's what Sasquatch really is. Maybe they're looking for a primate when they really should be looking for a new species of bear.
Well, isn't that what they... Remember, like, maybe 3 years ago, they were like, we found the abominable snowman. It's actually a bear. You remember that fiasco?
Something like that.
Where they were like, yeah, the the abominable snowman has finally been identified, and they like pull out this whatever their evidence was. It's a bear, and it's just like this normal ass looking bear. It's like, yeah, that's not the fucking abominable snowman. You're just trying to get me to stop thinking of it because you know the real one's out there.
Waiting to take my children.
Yeah, come on, liar pieces of shits. That real one's still out there, man. He's eating the Sherpas whole. I remember that History Channel special. I think Leonard Nimoy narrated it, actually. Somebody like that. It would scare the hell out of me when I was a kid.
Oh my god. Eating the Sherpas whole.
I remember, yeah, that was like it was like a History Channel Abominable Snowman documentary, and they were showing all these horrible, creepy drawings of the Iceman. And then they were talking to Sherpas and the mountain people that lived up there. They're like, "Oh yeah, you can hear him scream when he comes down from the mountains to eat the sheep," and it scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. I was like, "Oh my god!" It really got me. It really. And then they showed footage of one allegedly walking up a mountain. I gotta quit yanking on my cable. It freaks me out when I do that. And allegedly walking up a mountain, trudging through the snow, and that image has always been burning in my mind because it's just so creepy. After hearing all these Sherpas say, "Yeah, he ate my family." Fuck.
Wait, is it the footage of the one where his like back is turned and he's just like kind of going up?
I think so.
Okay, I think I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah. And I saw that when I was really little, and I was like, "Fuck this noise, man!" It's a good thing they don't have windows up there on that mountain.
I can't get over that. I'm sorry.
It was so scary.
We're gonna have to cut out all my laughing.
So yeah, that's why this is me in AA. That's why I don't like Bigfoot. God. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going back to the Squatch video, and I'm looking at this thing. Look through the window. And there's like little things in here that make me think that there's some trickery of the mind going on, and that it maybe isn't as much as there is. For one, the information isn't there. Like it's very dark outside. All you see is these eyes, right? Mm-hmm. And you kind of get this sense of a silhouette behind the eyes. At moments, it feels like there's little ears above the head. And at moments, it feels like the face is actually quite little. And then at other moments, it feels like the head is giant. I mean, it's really kind of, when you really stop it and look, which I hate doing because this is such a frightening video, and then you see the bird feeder behind it and how lit up and perfectly lit that is, there's just a lot of information that doesn't quite add up and just makes it weirder in my mind. Like, it's gross. It's a horrible video. It's my worst nightmare. Kendall.
Yeah. Oh, my turn to talk?
Yeah, your turn.
Oh, well, and here's the thing, too, right? So how tall is this window? You know, it's kind of parallel with the bird feeders, but there's a lamp out there that's higher than the window. So
I'm guessing it's normal.
Yeah, it's a normal window. So if this is Bigfoot, right, and he's 8 foot tall,
yeah,
like, and he's just barely creeping, like, into the window, like, he's got to be, like, not crouched, but, like, on his knees, basically, to be that short. Like, unless this is a gimp Bigfoot, he's really got to, like, struggle to be that size.
This gets into that whole, what do we actually know about Bigfoots? Because some stories are like, yeah, anything 5 foot and up is a Bigfoot if it's mannish. You know, it's like I don't think that every Bigfoot story he has to be 10 feet tall.
Well, I'm not saying 10 feet, but I'm going with what is the most generalized thing. The generalized thing is he's at least 6 foot and taller. All right.
I guess so, sure.
So let's just say he was like 6 foot, so just barely, you know, like. So, if you, Max, were trying to replicate this in the window, like,
Yeah.
Would you not have to be on your knees basically to achieve this height?
I would have to sloop over a bit.
Yeah, okay.
Assuming this window is about, the bottom of it starts at about 5.5 feet off the ground, you know?
Right.
Oh, wow. I just stopped on a very horrible frame of that video. Oh, God. Ew. I'll show that to you later. Ew. But see, we have windows out front that are a little taller. And I would just stand up normally like this to look in them. And I'm, you know, taller than 6 foot. And the windows out front, I would just stand normally to be about the height that this thing is. And that's also on one floor. So, I don't know. I guess it depends on the house, the plane of that, you know, the plane of the house where the windows sit on it.
You know, it just, the more I watch it towards the end, the more it just looks like a puppet. Like, it looks like just a stuffed thing, because, like, you can kind of see where shoulders are on it, and, like, the shoulders and the head don't match up, like, for a neck structure.
Yeah.
The way that the arms don't move at all, there's no, like, arm articulation, and the way it just kind of rotates. Like, the whole body will rotate. It doesn't just independently move the head, doesn't move arms, doesn't move anything. Just the whole body just...
Right,
and another
sure.
thing, too, I know this is creepy, but if you stare in its eyes, like, its eyes don't move at all. Like, you can see
not
the
really.
irises.
No, they don't. Yeah.
And, like, if you look in a mirror and, like, you stare at one point and then you move your head back and forth, like, you can see that your eyes move, right? to keep trained on that spot you're focusing on. This thing doesn't do that. The eyes, like, don't move at all with the head rotation, and that's very peculiar to me.
It's very Stan Romanek.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's like a puppet or something, dude.
Yeah, I think this goes a little bit beyond this is a suit. It definitely has some more to it than that. Like, there's something about it that makes it exquisitely weird and very Jim Henson-y, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very like, and that gives it like a weirdness, and that's probably why it creeps me out so much. Is like Jim Henson shit creeps me out anyway, and then you make it a Bigfoot in a window, and it's like, oh God.
What was that movie with David Bowie?
Labyrinth?
Oh yeah, now that had some creepy puppets.
Boy, did it. The best jump scare in cinema history was when she's in her room at the end, and she's like, oh, what a great adventure I've been on. And then she turns, and they're all the fucking horrible creatures that she made friends with are in the mirror in her room. It's like, oh, fuck.
You need to burn that house. Right to the ground.
Yes. So, yeah, this is creepy, but it's going to take us into another bit of Bigfoot windowdom that we heard tonight.
Yeah, he ate my family. That still gets me. Why? I don't know why that's so funny. Just the way you said it. Just
what are you talking about?
You're talking about the Sherpas on Everest. You're like, yeah, he ate my family. I don't know why that's so funny to me.
I mean, I kind of remember that. Anyway,
it was like fun. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
So Bigfoot in the window.
Bigfoot in the window. You found this, Kendall.
I did.
This is a story of a man who was 6 years old in 1966, right? Mm-hmm. And he was a little kid. Now, this is before Bigfoot was a big popular deal.
Yeah, when was the Patterson footage?
1968, 69, something like that. I'm going to say it's 1968.
67.
So, oh, okay. So this is a year before-ish.
Right,
Patterson.
and understand, those of you who are younger, who are watching, which I don't know who that would be, but back then you didn't have the internet, so there wasn't really like things going viral. So even though the footage was initially released, it didn't really get popular until like years later, and then it started to get recirculated with all the paranormal videos. I remember distinctly an introduction to one paranormal video I used to watch all the time had the stupid Patterson footage like in the beginning, and it had like the really like intense music, like and it's like, oh man, this is how I get nightmares right here.
Yeah. By the way, I just sent you that screen grab I got. Open that up and look at that. That's such a terrifying shot that I got of that.
I don't see it, comrade.
Oh, it has to load in.
Okay.
Okay, so anyway, this guy in 1966, he was 6 years old, and he was sleeping in his bed. And I didn't catch where this was. It says Southern Bigfoot Tales, so I'm assuming it's in the southern U.S. somewhere.
Yeah.
And he and his brother were in the room, sleeping in the room, and all the windows were open that night because it was, I guess it was a hot night or whatever, and they you know, had some cross wind going in. And so he awakes. He is arisen, and he hears, I think he said he heard it first, and he hears this cooing, clicking, and then he does it. And if you want to look this video up, it's his story. It's brothers terrified by Bigfoot outside bedroom window. It's on the Bigfoot Evidence channel. And he hears this cooing. It's like, whoop, click, click, click. He's making these clicking noises like the aliens in Signs, how I always imagine that. And he looks out the window because the window is at the foot of his bed. The bed is facing out the window.
Like a madman.
Yes. It's like you're just waiting for... It's like a runway for the aliens to take you. And he looks, and out in the yard, they have a fence that's designed to keep animals in. Mm-hmm. And draped over this fence, facing the window, correct?
Yes.
Is a big monkey, as he calls it. And it has his arms draped over the fence, and it's kind of doing the sway side dance as it's doing the cooing and clicking.
It's trying to lure him in.
Yeah. And it's really scary. And he and his brother shoot up, and they go into the mother's bedroom, and they're like, Ma, I'll be gosh dang, there's a big monkey out there. And she's like, no, son, there ain't no monkey out there. Monkeys ain't in this part of this earth. God ain't put monkeys here. And y'all don't know what you're saying. You're saying nothing out there. It's a tree shadow. And she's like, oh, and they're like, well, fuck, you know, I guess we'll sleep in here then, even though it could just break open the screen and wander throughout our house, you know. And that's sort of the end of the story. But it's such a creepy thing, because then my thought was, what if it was just a fucking guy trying to pervert on some kids?
Right, because, like, you know, if you're trying to grab at some little ones, you don't do the you know, hey kid, because every kid is like taught not to respond to that and to run away from that, right?
Yeah. So you make the kid curious.
Yep.
Yeah, and you make the kid go, what?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, not that we know anything about that.
Yeah, this sounds awfully incriminating all of a sudden.
But yeah, I mean, I would just assume that if you're trying to capture some kids from their bedrooms, you wouldn't immediately be like, hey kid, I got candy, you know?
Right, like, yeah, because everybody knows the stereotype, like, you know, the van with the free candy on the side, like that, you know.
Yeah.
That can't really work, but, you know, playing off a kid's curiosity, I'm sure that is how a lot of these creepers do it.
Yeah. And, you know, he described it as a big monkey. Doesn't mean it's, you know, a squatch or a monkey. It's just a guy in the dark. You know, he's 6 years old, right?
Like, why is this thing specifically looking in their window doing this nonsense, though?
Yeah. And, yeah, it's fucking gross, man. I mean...
Right?
It could be a man, it could be a Bigfoot, it could be a monkey. It could have been a monkey. Like, we always joke, you know? Like, oh, maybe it was an escaped gorilla. Even so, like, stop it. Whatever's doing all this.
Let's jump into the realm of creepus just for a moment here.
Okay.
Let's say it was a Bigfoot. Do you think that it actually saw them and was trying to interact with them? Or do you think it was just doing its own thing and they happened to see it?
What the fuck is its own thing? Like
whatever cooing and sauntering to the left is, that's its own thing.
Okay, all right. Let's put ourselves in the place of a Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a Bigfoot and you look out one night and you're like, it's a nice night for scraping on a fence.
It's the Bigfoot pastime, handed down from generation to generation of Squatchkin.
I think this is what Bigfoot do, because there's more than one account of a Bigfoot trying to get kids.
Oh, I know, which is really disturbing.
It's actually one of the only constants in storytelling of Bigfoot, besides like he's 8 foot tall and had big feet. Like one of the things Bigfoot always seems to do is he's interested in kids. Always. Like any story where there's a kid and a Bigfoot, it's automatically more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you have a hunter in the woods. Like, I saw Bigfoot. He crossed from tree to tree. Kid Bigfoot stories are always like, yeah, I was outside my window, and he was talking to me and feeding me food. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. Yeah, and this Bigfoot stole away with me for 3 weeks, and I lived in his den. It's like, what the fuck, Like Bigfoot definitely seem, if they're real, to have an interest in the kid.
Right.
And or they're always looking in the window. They're always trying to talk to kids. You don't hear about many Bigfoot stories where a Bigfoot's trying to talk to an adult. It's always, if the Bigfoot's talking, it's going to be to a kid. Always. Like, I don't think I've ever heard one where the Bigfoot like talked to a guy that was an adult. And this is just another one of those where the Bigfoot's trying to like do whatever to these kids, and he's outside their window, and he's trying to do whatever to them. Really unfortunate.
It really is. Yeah.
I don't know. So yeah, I think it definitely, if it's real, like you said, we're in the realm of creepus, like assuming it's a real Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bigfoot have an infatuation with kids.
Oh man, do you wonder? Like, okay, again, this is really, what was I saying? Oh, so this is really far into fantasy now, but what if it was a Bigfoot that lost its children and we're trying to adopt something to fill in that gap? Like,
oh boy,
right?
I mean, who knows, man? I've heard of real apes doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, like adopting
like
baby whatevers and then nurturing them and what.
Even heard of like wild dogs doing that kind of thing with different species. So I don't know, man. Tarzan, he was raised by Bigfoot. Well, he was raised. If you read the old books, he was raised not by gorillas but by Bigfoot, which is a really interesting thing. Because those books also predate the Patterson footage by a lot. And Edgar Rice Burroughs was talking about Bigfoot. So there you go. I don't know, man. I don't know why feral humans come to mind. Always, of course. I would imagine feral humans. You have no concept of society or something like that. You see a little one of yourself and you're like, what the fuck, in your weird feral human mind.
Me smash with rock.
Yeah, me lure outside and smash with rock. I don't know, dude. I think Bigfoot have the smell for children.
See, I always thought he was hot to trot for soccer moms, but
yeah, I think we're wrong about that.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he's hot to trot for soccer moms because he knows where there's a soccer mom, there's kids.
Oh yeah, you know what?
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, we're making Bigfoot out to be such a weird creature.
I mean, is he not?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he likes to saunter along barbed wire fences, chirping and whistling and swaying his arms, and that was weird too. So like he's leaning over the fence in the story. Yes. He's described to be leaning over the fence, with his arms kind of out, and he's like swaying. So I imagine his arms are just kind of like doing a hula, kind of like sway back and forth.
I had a few different images in my mind. One was his arms were out, like he was holding them out, like come into my arms.
Oh God.
That's one of the images I had in my mind. The other one was maybe he was carrying something and the kid didn't see that clearly. Ooh, like he was trying to pull something over the fence, like an animal or something. And the other was like what you're saying, like he's kind of swaying his arms playfully. Mm-hmm. But the first image I had was he has his arms out, like outstretched, palms up, like come to me.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And, okay, one other thing, like, why doesn't Bigfoot just step over the fence?
Well, see, Bigfoot knows that ain't his property. He's got to get the kid to come to him.
Oh my gosh.
This Bigfoot was a civilized one. He acknowledges property bounds.
Oh, I see. And the wilderness is his property. So once the kid crosses over, he's in a different jurisdiction, and Bigfoot's no longer bound by man's laws.
Yes.
It's nature's laws out there, and nature's law says Bigfoot's going to get him some pengus.
Mm-hmm. Some 6-year-old boy pengus.
God.
So, you heard that here first, folks.
God. That's going to get taken out of context.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's best 5 minutes.
Everybody knows that we just talk about Bigfoot.
That's really all we talk about.
So,
Also, real quick side note, we spoke about this shameless sellout moment here. We talked about this on our Paycast. Parents do not acknowledge children's fears.
Yeah, I mean, this happened again in the story.
Mm-hmm. The mom never. He specifically says in the story that, my mom never got up. She just said, "Oh, there's no apes in North America. Don't worry about it, boys."
Guys, the mom never got out of bed.
Right.
Like, do you think she would have gotten out of bed if the kids ran in there and said, "There's a man outside our window"?
I would hope so.
I would hope so too.
But I mean, here's the thing, though. Any kind of odd humanoid shape would, to me, make me want to get up because it probably is a man.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. Because they're kids. They have an imagination. So
they're little kids, too.
Right. And you wouldn't interpret the humanoid shape as, just the kids freaking out and actually seeing somebody there. What the heck?
Yeah. I would get up. I mean, my parents always took that seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I can't believe the amount of stories that I hear where parents don't take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
It's just your imagination. Go to sleep. It's like, what? Fuck you.
I understand, okay, maybe the parents don't want to freak the kid out. So, one way to go about that is, to go to the room, be like, everything's fine, tuck them in, and then once they're asleep, then you can, run around the house kind of, checking things out. That way they don't see you kind of freaking out. I get that. But just sitting in your bed and going, oh, it's nothing. What if it was a guy and he creeped in through that open window and murdered them, what the heck?
Yeah, I mean, that will always blow my mind. I like to think that most of these stories, because people are children when they experience these stories, of course they're going to say, oh, my dad just says your imagination. I like to think that most of the time the dad is like, okay, all right, got him into bed. I'm going to go see what's up,
Yeah, takes a flashlight, maybe a gun, just kind of checks the house. Everything's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I hope happens. But I think it's a more valuable lesson to be like, okay, you to let the kid know that his experience is being taken seriously rather than trying to pacify it immediately. I think it'd be more valuable to the kid as an example as he grows up to be like, okay, you heard something out there? Hang here. I'm going to go see what it is. And there are some stories like that, but by and large, they're like this, where it seems like the parents just don't give a fuck. And here you got this goddamn pervert monkey swaying on the fence singing Dean Martin to the kids.
Right?
Jesus. It's so creepy.
Bigfoot, what are you doing, man? Mm-hmm. Just stick to the Sherpas, man.
Yeah, just eat the Sherpas. They don't have fences.
Oh, actually they don't.
I don't think they, at least, they have less fences than here, so go eat them.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, though. The Yeti is supposed to be the guardian of the mountains, so I don't think he really...
Yeah, but I always heard the Yeti was aggressive.
Yeah, but I mean, because he's a guardian, but I don't think, he wanders down into town and saunters across fences to try to lure in the poor children of the villages.
From what I remember, I beg to disagree. Because I remember these people talking about the Yeti coming down and killing all their sheep and taking away children and stuff. I really remember that. It scared me so much. I feel like I can't be making that up in my mind.
Oh my God.
I don't know what documentary. If anybody knows this documentary, by the way, I saw it probably mid-90s. I was a little kid. And It was not definitely History Channel. I remember that. I know that part. It was like old History Channel, and I feel like I discovered it a little bit later in life, and it was the narrator sounded like Leonard Nimoy, might not have been, and they were showing all these old drawings of these horrible pictures of the Yeti, and they were going around the locals talking about how they would eat each other and everything, and then they showed the footage of the one climbing up the mountain in the snow, and it just was like, wow, this is horrible. So if anybody knows that documentary, don't send it to me.
How does Bigfoot even like make off with the children? Did you just tuck him under his arm and just kind of saunter away?
I mean, you always hear about Bigfoot running off with a pig.
True.
I mean, if he can run off with a pig, he can run off with a kid.
If he can dodge a wrench, he can dodge a ball.
Yeah.
But anyway, this episode's like 35 minutes long.
Oh,
so.
no. So I don't want to loop that video. Okay, so final verdict on the video.
On the story?
Yeah. Okay.
I've always been hard pressed to discredit like personal encounters.
Yeah.
Supposedly, the guy who you hear is Jim King, known to his friends as Bear. I don't know why I need to know that information. Had his first Bigfoot sighting in 1966, not knowing what it was at the time. It wasn't until 1972 they became aware of Bigfoot, probably seeing the Patterson footage. He's been studying the subject ever since. He's had numerous booger sightings, as he calls them, and has enough stories to fill a book. You can also listen to his Bigfoot Outlaw podcasts at Bigfoot Crossroads. Huh.
Okay. Interesting. Anyway, his story was good, even if it's just a pitch.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. I'll have to do more research on the Bigfoot Crossroad Outlaw, whatever. It's a podcast channel. I'll have to do more research on that. I think they saw something. I don't know what they saw.
yeah.
Guy, I always like personal accounts. I feel like those are more real than 90% of the videos and pictures we see on the internet today.
Yeah.
Definitely the video we saw earlier in the episode is a hoax. I really think it's some sort of puppet. Or not even a puppet. It could be a stuffed animal, honestly.
There's some weirdness to that, and I don't know if it's just my being so scared of that situation is swaying the way I think, but I think there's a little more going on than just a stuffed animal.
I don't know. There's a distinct lack of motion. There's lack of eye.
Yeah, I mean, as far as
well.
that kind of shit. But I think I feel like there's if it is a puppet, it probably is. There's two elements to it. It's like a body element and a head element. Like maybe they have the head on a stick separate from the body or something. Like it really feels like there's a little bit more than that going on. And at points, I really think I could see it kind of turn sideways, the body, while the head kind of stays looking forward. I don't know. I'd have to go through it, fine-tooth comb again, which is the worst thing in the world. But I really feel like I'm seeing stuff like that. Again, it's so dark, can't tell for sure.
All I can say is, if that is real, like, good God, man, you need to bulk up on some cardboard boxes.
Yeah, close your windows, creeps.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, yeah, this is an incredibly long episode of this show.
This is 2 for Unexplained YouTube because we haven't been posting lately. There you go.
Unexplained you too.
Oh, wow.
Okay, guys, we'll see you next time.